Dean Dome is packed here tonight in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, because what is better than an early November matchup between a couple of college basketball's true blue bloods? The Kansas Jayhawks are here at the Dean Dome. Bill Self, Hubert Davis, of course, these two men of the 2022 National Championship game. Oh, is this going to be fun between Kansas and North Carolina here tonight? Two of the most successful, iconic programs in this sport's history. Both of them top three in these categories, along with Kentucky. This feels like it's going to be a very fun way to spend a Friday night. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman, Jay Billis. Glad you're spending it with us. Blue blood programs, but each conceivably, Jay, this year will be led by precocious freshmen.
I don't know if it's conceivably. They're going to be led by these guys. And Darren Peterson of Kansas, Bill Self's already said he's the best freshman and the most prepared freshman that he has ever had. He had 21 points in the opener against Green Bay. He had 18 of those in the first half. He's going to have 40 in a game this year. He's unbelievably talented, can really get downhill, and an outstanding shooter as well. And North Carolina has a great freshman as well. Caleb Wilson from Atlanta, Georgia. 22 points in the Tar Heels opener against Central Arkansas. He shot 80% that game. I think he had 5 dunks in the first half. He's explosive. He plays above the rim. Expect Kansas to be physical with him and try to take some of the steam out of that athleticism.
Each of these teams with a lopsided win to get their season started. Carolina beat Central Arkansas by 40. Kansas beat Green Bay by 43. And it's the visiting Jayhawks with the first possession of the night. This is Flory Bidunga, who looks like he has really expanded his offensive game here this season. Trey White with a nice interior feed. Bidunga up with the left and good.
Boy, when you try to gap this driving Kansas team, you're going to see Flory Bidunga try to duck in and wedge his defender. They're looking to get the ball inside.
What an interesting matchup tonight, too, between Bidunga and Henry Vesar, a transfer from Arizona.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Bidunga really try to run Vesar and take advantage of his mobility.
This is Jaron Stevenson, a Chapel Hill kid, a transfer from Alabama with the tie the last couple of years. And the long three won't go for Kyan Evans, but the follow will go. It'll be Wilson with the bucket to tie it at 2.
And that's what happens when you don't put a body on Caleb Wilson. He is a jumping jack at 6'10".
As if the fans here in Chapel Hill needed any more reason to get excited. A line drive three not there for Melvin Council Jr., a transfer from St. Bonaventure, who figures to be an important part of this Jayhawks team.
A really important part. An excellent defender. And North Carolina, a bigger team than they were last year, especially at the guard spots. The key to Carolina's season is going to be their defense and their rebounding, because this team's going to be able to score.
Wilson has it taken away. Peterson off to the races and lays it in.
Well, you can see Darren Peterson just glides up and down the floor.
I mean, if Bill Self is saying the best and most prepared freshman he's ever coached, that's telling you something.
Yeah, he's only had Andrew Wiggins and Joel Embiid and Darren Williams.
Yeah. The second three won't go down for Evans, but the offensive rebound for Stevenson. Hubert Davis loves that. Vesar has it stripped, and it's out of bounds to Kansas.
Vesar brought the ball down. It was stripped, but the two freshmen that we talked about in the open of this game have made their presence known. Caleb Wilson, nobody blocks him out. You turn to rebound, he's just going to jump right over you. And then Peterson stealing it from Wilson and taking it the other way, going against an excellent defender in Seth Trimble. Got all the way to the rim and laid it in.
And there will likely be a number of different Tar Heels who take their best shot at defending Peterson. A deflection out of bounds, still Kansas ball. The starting five for the Jayhawks, like so many programs, a lot of new faces. Bidunga, the only returning starter. Trey White, a guy to keep an eye on as well. He's with his 4th team, USC, Louisville, Illinois, and now Kansas.
That looked like it went off with Kansas, but don't think you're going to see this challenge. trying to blow up that little ball screen action.
Peterson wanted a foul, no challenge. Again, coaches' challenges new this year. Shot clock is at 6. Trimble staying near Peterson, forces him to give it up. They got to get a shot off. And I don't know if they do. They did not get it off in time, and that'll turn it over to the Heels. Well, not only is it the first time Kansas has ever played in this arena, Bill Self never in his life, in any capacity, had ever been in this arena before today. And he did what all people do, Jay, as we saw him walk in this afternoon. Came in, turned around, looked at all those banners up here on to our left at that end of the court.
Well, he did the same thing in this building that everybody does when they go into Allen Fieldhouse.
Yep.
I mean, these two programs play in cathedrals of the game.
They have met 13 previous times. Kansas 7-6, and they've won the last 5, including a great game at Allen Fieldhouse last year that the Jayhawks won 92-89.
But Carolina getting some offensive rebound opportunities. They're not capitalizing except for Wilson with that tip dunk.
Peterson using the ball screen, the jumper off the back of the iron. Wilson got a hand on it, and he's fouled.
Bidunga picks up that foul. And those are the kind of fouls, Dan, that Flory Bidunga needs to stay away from. He had very little chance to get that ball, and he wants to be aggressive in every other area of the game, but there's no reason for him to pick up a foul there. That's a cheap one.
It feels like both centers, Bidunga and Vesar, are particularly important to their teams this year because there's some youth and uncertainty in the backup center spot for both teams.
That's absolutely right. And I think Vesar is going to have to play a lot of minutes for North Carolina, more than he played at Arizona for Tommy Lloyd.
Carolina turns it over. Here comes White.
There's so many different handlers for Kansas can bring it up. They don't have to get it just to Peterson.
A much more athletic team than a year ago, would you say?
Way more athletic.
And Trey White knocks it down. 7-2 KU early.
But Trey White's played at Louisville. He played at Illinois. He's averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds for his career. And he's going to help stretch the floor.
Speaking of stretching the floor, Henry Vesar can do that.
Vesar last couple of years played at Arizona. But in Carolina's first game against Central Arkansas, that was the first double-double of his career.
Yep. At 14 and 10 in that game. Back come the Heels, down by 2. Trimble trying to shake his defender, got a switch, drives, and lays it in to tie the game.
They got Flory Bidunga on a switch, gave a little hesitation, and just blew by him. And this is going to be a challenge for Peterson because Trimble just lives in a stance. A great individual defender.
Experienced guy, physical. Vesar the tip, Bidunga gathers and finishes.
Great catch by Flory Bidunga. He's always going to go back to that left hand.
Remember Bidunga backing up Hunter Dickinson last year, but it's his job now. And a foul will prevent the freshman Cole Rosario from slamming it home and take us to our first media timeout of the night. We talked about both freshmen, Jay, off the top, and they have both shown some very impressive stuff already.
Well, the first, you don't block out Caleb Wilson. He's going to posterize you, plays above the rim, and then Peterson, boy, he really plays with great pace, an outstanding prospect.
You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Welcome back to Chapel Hill, and how is this for a cool moment? The gentleman who had the jacket originally is the son of the late, great Dean Smith, Scott Smith, presenting Dean Smith's Kansas letter jacket from 1952 to the Kansas Chancellor Lee Roberts. Of course, Dean Smith from Emporia, Kansas, and played there, began his coaching career there, and then came here and had a Hall of Fame career, 36 years, 2 national championships, but played at Kansas. And 73 years after he wore that jacket in 1952, Jay, the Smith family has given that jacket back to Kansas.
So cool.
Very cool.
And just remarkable how much crossover there is between Kansas and North Carolina. And think about this, Dan. You and I talked about this earlier. Hubert Davis played for Dean Smith, went to the Final Four in 1991. Dean Smith played for Phog Allen, after whom Allen Fieldhouse is named. And Phog Allen played for Dr. James Naismith, who invented the game.
That's as straight a line as you can draw back to the history of college basketball. Nice two-man game between the bigs, Vesar and Wilson. Wilson the jam.
And usually Kansas very good out of timeout. See what they come up with to try to get probably Darren Peterson a shot.
It is still Trimble on Peterson. Another very talented freshman, Bryson Tiller, number 15 in blue, into the game for the Jayhawks. That is deflected out of bounds, still Kansas ball.
Well, North Carolina just getting the little ghost screen up top, passing out of the double, and then a nice high-low to Caleb Wilson. One thing that Henry Vesar can do is he can really pass from up top. Carolina likes to run high-low, and they have two excellent players in both Vesar and Wilson to be able to run that.
Peterson elevates, hits, and is fouled.
How much ability does this guy have? And we mentioned he hit 6 threes in an exhibition game against Louisville. He's got a great hesitation move. He can score with the ball in his hands or coming off screens, and he caught that ready to shoot with Seth Trimble just coming right into his body and still concentrated to knock that down and get the end one.
The only thing that has been able to slow him down so far, it's not opposing players, it's a cramping issue that he has had in one of the exhibition games and in their opener against Green Bay. He's played a ton of minutes and put up big numbers in the first halves of games, but they're trying to get to the bottom of it because it's really limited his minutes later in games.
Yeah, remember a few years ago, Paolo Banchero went through the same thing. Worked out for him.
And I assume it'll work out for Peterson as well. More good ball movement by the heels, and Vesar the slam.
And Wilson showing he's an excellent passer as well, and communicating really well on defense with Luka Bogovac to get him to his matchup.
Luka Bogovac, who just became eligible prior to the season opener for the Tar Heels, a junior from Montenegro, and there is another bucket for Peterson, who can score in every way imaginable. Wilson is fouled on the drive.
You know, that last play by Darren Peterson just shows how good. You're going to see a lot of two-man game between him and Flory Badunga. This isn't Badunga setting that screen, it's Tiller, but he just snakes right around that and pulls up for that little floater. There's hardly anything he doesn't have. And the best hope you have is keep the ball out of his hands and be physical with them. But he's shown that he can handle physicality early on in his career.
If you're the kind of college basketball fan who loves a year where the freshman class is special, this feels like one of those years. Peterson and Wilson, just two of the many.
I think, Dan, this is the best year for freshmen I can remember. It doesn't mean that the number one player in a given year hasn't been better than the number one player this year. But the depth of great talent in this freshman class is jaw-dropping. And look at the numbers they've been putting. That doesn't even include, you know, Koa Peak from Arizona, who put up 30 on defending champion Florida in their opening game.
Yeah, Cam Boozer's going to have a big year for Duke. A.J. Debonsa at BYU. I mean, just an incredibly, not only talented, but deep freshman class who figured to play major roles on some national championship contenders, big-time high major teams.
The guards from Arkansas, freshman guards, Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas, they may be as talented a guards they've had since, you know, they had Ron Brewer and Sidney Moncrief playing for Eddie Sutton back in the 70s.
This is Elmarko Jackson, who was a medical redshirt last year with a knee injury, came in with all kinds of expectations a couple of years ago as a freshman.
So far, Kansas done a pretty decent job of getting back. Transition is one of the big issues when you're playing against this North Carolina team.
Bogovac misses the three. What does Carolina have here in Luka Bogovac?
They've got a guy who I think is a complete player on the offensive end. He's really skilled, really smart, makes good decisions. He can shoot it. The question is he going to be able to defend the ball, but he's played high-level basketball. He's from Montenegro and just got eligible about a half hour before Carolina's opener against Central Arkansas.
Yeah, according to his teammates, I mean, he didn't expect to play, and he was kind of dozing in their locker room on a couch, and all of a sudden, Hubert Davis and other members of the team said, lace him up, you're good to go. And how about Hubert Davis making him the first sub into the game, less than 4 minutes into the game the other night?
Well, I think if he were eligible, he'd probably be starting.
Stevenson down with the miss for Carolina, and again the Heels trying to push. Derek Dixon, number 3 in white, a freshman from Vienna, Virginia, figures to be the primary backup point guard right now for Carolina. He's got really good size at that position. Another miss for Bogovats.
Boy, Vesar's really done a nice job on the glass. He's been strong.
Council looking inside. Now Tiller, a big guy who likes to step out and shoot the 3.
And the ball stayed completely on the perimeter. Kansas wants to get downhill and draw help so they can play out of it. That time they didn't need to. You really have to get out to Tiller. Even though he's 6'10", he can shoot it.
Vesar calling for it, had a mismatch. Good job by Jackson fronting him. Stevenson for 3. And it bounces to Trimble. Wide left on his 3, but Carolina catches a break. It's out of bounds off the Jayhawks as we step aside. Kansas here in Chapel Hill with an early 5-point lead. This is Hubert Davis's 5th year as the head coach here at Carolina, and boy, has he had his ups and downs. They beat Duke in the national semifinal, get to the national championship game in his first year, preseason #1 the next year, and don't make the tournament. Then #1 seed 2 years ago onto the Sweet 16. Last year, Jay, as you well know, the last team in to the NCAA tournament, win a first 4 game, lose a round of 64 game, a controversial last team in. That's a lot of ups and downs in 4 years.
Yeah, but the ups have been really good, and I think this has a chance to be a really good year for North Carolina. I thought last year they lacked some size. They didn't create a lot of second chance points, and they needed to get bigger. They need to get longer, and they are now. I mean, they start 6'10", 7 feet across the front line, and their guards are bigger.
Nice play by Badunga to knock the pass away. Another Carolina turnover. That's their 5th already.
And that's really been the difference in the game. Kansas has 6 points off those turnovers.
Now Wilson reaches in and is called for the foul, his first. The bigs for Carolina, Vesar, Stevenson, Wilson, all very long, all very skilled. Is this, though, like a typical Carolina team where they're just going to pound you on the offensive glass night in and night out, or are they kind of different? Their skill set might be a little bit different than that.
It's different. They're not the type of team that's going to pound the ball inside, but they can play high-low. Wilson can operate down in the low post, but they're gonna work him into the post because he can play inside and out. But they still want to establish an inside game first. And their offensive rebounding in this game has been excellent. They just haven't converted their offensive rebound chances.
Badunga right into the chest of Wilson and everything but the finish, but he gets the loose ball back. Boy, he is a much improved player at the offensive end from a season ago.
Much more confident, but again, he's always going to go back to that left hand. But Badunga plays above the rim, and when he sets a ball screen, he gets out of it really quickly with his mobility.
Wilson knocks it down, and a foul on Jackson as well.
When you watch Caleb Wilson in practice, you might say, geez, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. You watch him in a 5-on-5 game, and he's magnificent. He knew that he had a mismatch here with Elmarko Jackson, and he just decided, I don't need to bully you, I can just shoot over you. And Jackson made the mistake of fouling him instead of just getting some pressure. But Wilson is instinctive, he is super quick and very skilled.
A very talented and confident young man. That's Zayden Hyde checking in right now for the Tar Heels. Wilson has stated his goal is to go 20-10 every game. He did it in both exhibition games. He had 22 points in the win over Central Arkansas, but only 4 rebounds. He's got 8 points, 2 rebounds so far here tonight.
One of the things that really stands out about Caleb Wilson, he's an excellent passer. He's got a terrific feel for the game. Into Badunga again, and he is held underneath
by Zayden High, who gets called for the foul.
All that action, Dan, that Kansas ran was just to reverse the ball so they could get a big guy that's wedging up the lane. Now watch Badunga. He's just going to wedge Zayden High up the lane, and they're going to throw over the top. Just get him isolated in the post. Kansas has done this forever. You may know it's coming. It's like the old student body right for USC football or the power sweep for the Green Bay Packers. You know it's coming. Can you stop it?
Jackson takes the handoff, pulls up from 15. Badunga the rebound. And then loses the battle as Wilson just takes it away from him and is fouled. Boy, you got to love the effort really from both guys, Badunga and Wilson.
Badunga had that ball with both hands, and Wilson just took it away from him, showing that he may be thin, but he is strong. That's impressive.
Kansas by 5. Carolina with the ball. Again, this is Dixon, the freshman. Gatorade Player of the Year in the District of Columbia a season ago. Look at the up and under. The tip no good. And it's down to Kansas. Boy, that was almost a spectacular bucket by Jonathan Powell, a sophomore who played at West Virginia last year. Ball is still loose. Who wants it? It's Wilson again.
And that's going to be a foul on Rosario. He comes right on top of Wilson.
Boy, you love to see a guy with that talent have that kind of motor as well.
Kansas was reaching for the ball, and Caleb Wilson dove on the floor. And guess who got it? The guy that dove on the floor. You're going to bend over at the waist for this thing? No. You dive on the floor, and then Rosario dives on top of him and picks up the foul.
The first on Rosario, a freshman from Miami. It was kind of a late addition to the Kansas program. Came in midsummer, but had enough time to grow a spectacular freshman mustache, don't you think?
That rivals Sean Miller's mustache hit back in the late 80s, early 90s.
And that's saying a lot because that was a golden era for mustaches. High is fouled by Peterson.
One thing Kansas needs to do is get great pressure on the ball as it's being brought up. Derek Dixon, just a freshman, is handling the ball.
And the reason for the ovation is the fans now realize that is 2 on Darren Peterson, and he is going to the bench with 9:25 to go in the half.
And there was no reason to pick up that foul. You know, once you push your assignment off the lane, you know, there's no reason to foul that there. If he gets the ball, make him make a post move over you.
Zayden High, who did not play last year, was suspended for an off-court incident back with the Tar Heels this year. And again, just like we talked about with Kansas, Hubert Davis needs quality backup minutes from some combination of Zayden High and James Brown behind Henry Vessa.
Well, Carolina has always valued depth, so they can keep the pressure on for a full 40 minutes.
Rosario. Long on the 3. Bill Self loves him. Great effort as he just took a charge. He plays hard, and nothing pleases Bill Self like a player who plays hard at this point, and it's very early. The ball's not going in the basket, but Bill Self doesn't have any worries about that.
Well, he had 5 rebounds in his first game. Does a great job of establishing position as Stevenson was looking back to get this ball on a pass ahead from Dixon. And he just put his body on the line. But Cole Rosario, he played for Overtime Elite. And he's just such a willing worker, and he's an outstanding offensive rebounder, a real vertical athlete that can get off the floor.
Jackson to Badunga as he steps out on the perimeter. Not a threat out there. This is Council, the St. Bonaventure transfer, averaged almost 15 a game a year ago. But now a turnover by White. Powell rejected by White at the rim.
Boy, what a block.
Well, you talk about giving it up and then getting it back. It was White who turned it over, but hustled back on D for the block.
Good hands and a good job by Council. Looked like he might have fouled him there, but a terrific block up top.
Council looking inside. Badunga again.
Sit on that right shoulder.
Crowd wanted to walk. White. He turns it over to Wilson.
So you got to throw that thing up.
Wilson takes a bump, takes another, and will head to the free throw line.
Well, you play 5-on-5 with Caleb Wilson. He is so active. And as he gets more physical and gets stronger, he's only going to get better. He makes plays on both ends of the floor. You see Larry Brown just behind him there, the Hall of Fame coach that won a national championship at Kansas in 1988, played here at North Carolina. The only coach in basketball history to win an NCAA title and an NBA title.
Well, we've got a couple more men's basketball games for you Sunday on ESPN and the all-new ESPN app. It'll be Indiana and Marquette squaring off at the United Center in Chicago at 1 o'clock Eastern time, and later Baylor and Washington 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. I know you feel the same way I do. The more big-time matchups early on in the season, the better.
No question. You got to give credit to these coaches for really challenging their teams. And North Carolina going with some full court pressure, dropping back to man-to-man.
3-point lead, Kansas. Just about 12 minutes into the first half here in Chapel Hill. Corner three, an air ball there by White, and out of the scrum comes Trimble. Trimble is bumped. The foul before the shot attempt to take us to a timeout. It's a physical, intense affair here in the first big-time matchup of the season for each of these programs. Kansas with a 3-point lead on the road.
In a battle of traditional blue bloods, the freshmen have led the way, and for North Carolina, Caleb Wilson has been outstanding to start this game. He's 3 of 3 from the field, 4 of 5 from the line, 10 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. And it has been some spectacular plays, but also some incredibly hard-working plays. Taking the ball away from Flory Badunga, he gets down on the floor to get after loose balls. He is showing every facet of his game, but Carolina still trails by 3. And, you know, Dan, with Darren Peterson having 2 fouls, when he's out of the game, I think Kansas is going to have to learn how to play without him. They've been, I don't want to say stagnant, but they haven't been as, had the same kind of flow with him out of the game. And Carolina has been a little 3-point happy. They're 1 of 9 from 3 in this first half. They've had a number of offensive rebound chances, but they haven't been able to connect and to convert on those offensive rebound opportunities.
I know Peterson is a freshman, but in your mind, does he have a chance to be as important to his team's chances as really any player on a high major team in America?
Yes, I would say Peterson, you know, Cam Boozer of Duke is right up there as far as importance. And then where you can see the importance right now is Caleb Wilson to North Carolina.
Look at the pressure that he's putting on. The head of the snake in that press. Kansas having trouble getting it over, and they will not.
That's Darren Peterson being out of the game. And Elmarko Jackson had the ball in his hands, just didn't make good decisions and have a good feel for getting the ball across half court. And other players have to make themselves available as receivers to take the pressure off. Carolina traps that first pass and creates the turnover.
This is Kyan Evans, the starting point guard for Carolina, a junior who transferred from Colorado State, led the Rams into the second round of the NCAA tournament a year ago, and had a very nice first game of the season. The scoop, but no finish there for Trimble, and it's down to Jackson.
Boy, Vasar needed to finish that play inside. He had a mismatch with a guard switched off on him, and he passed it out to a non-shooter on the perimeter, and Carolina came away with nothing. That should have been a bucket and a foul.
Badunga, who Bill Self says is a much improved passer this year as well. The tough turnaround won't go for Tiller, and it's Wilson with yet another rebound.
I think that's his 5th.
A little bit strong, and then might have climbed over the back of the Kansas player, Council, and he did. And you love the enthusiasm and the intent there, but Hubert Davis wants to keep him on the floor, and that's number 2 on him.
He wants to keep Wilson on the floor, and he wants to keep Kansas off the foul line.
And Peterson is returning now, so he sat for about 2.5 minutes. And Kansas did not score a point while he was on the bench.
You know, some coaches will keep a player on the bench and for the remainder of the first half once they pick up 2 fouls. You know, it goes player by player as far as whether you think the player can handle it. But you don't want to play better defense on your own player by taking him out of the game than the other team can play on him.
And by the way, while we talk about Bill Self, it's great to see him feeling good and with his team. Had his second heart procedure in the last couple of years in the summer. But you and I had a chance to visit with him at shoot around today. He is feeling good, looking good, and hopefully all of that is in his past right now.
I think the only thing that's bothering him right now is he can't eat what he wants.
Right. He's grudgingly doing what the doctors have told him to do, but he is very grateful for all the support that he has gotten from the medical staff, the Kansas community, and it's great to see him here.
Yeah, Carolina needs to take advantage of these switches, especially Basar.
Step back three. Zayden High from the corner.
Zayden High is a streaky shooter, but he was a 6'1" guard when he got to high school. Now he's about 6'9" or 6'10".
And he just tied the game at 22. First time the Heels have been square in a while.
You're really not seeing Kansas get downhill right now, but here's a guy who can.
Peterson using the screen, misses the three, and Carolina can take the lead.
And they have numbers.
Basar wide open. Count it. The Tar Heels with their first lead of the night. Back-to-back threes by High and then Basar, and Carolina chased up by 3.
Kansas was down a man. He fell down. Bogovats got a piece of the paint, kicked it out to the big guy, and Carolina hits it.
Carolina with the lead. Kansas has gone cold. They have missed their last 7 field goal attempts. What needs to change offensively for the Jayhawks?
I think Kansas needs to get into the paint. Most of what Kansas does is to get cutting or drives that is going to get them into the paint to draw help so they can play out of it. They have been exclusively on the perimeter.
Trimble trying to fight around a screen. Peterson forces it up and draws a foul.
Just even that, Dan, just getting right below the elbow. At least he got a foot in the paint. And for that period that Peterson was out of the game, you just saw Kansas kind of windshield wiping the ball around the perimeter. But once they can get a piece of that paint, whether it's by pass or by dribble, then they can really collapse the North Carolina defense and put them into help.
The third annual Women's Basketball Ally Tip-Off is Sunday afternoon, once again at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, where they have had record attendance the first 2 years. It'll be Jazzy Davidson at number 18 USC and 9th-ranked NC State at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ESPN and the all-new ESPN app.
Kyan Evans with the ball right now, transferred in from Colorado State. He can really shoot it.
Had a terrific first game against Central Arkansas. Really stuffed the stat sheet, and now a turnover as High traveled.
That can be a tough pass to deal with for a big guy. That little short roll.
So Bill Self trusting Peterson to play without picking up his third here with still about 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. This is Jamari McDowell, who sat out as a redshirt last year after getting a lot of run 2 years ago as a freshman. Council with a burst of speed, but not enough to get by Basar.
Well, he was trying to get by Evans, and Evans did a good job of sticking with him. He couldn't stay in front, but that gave Basar enough time to come over from the weak side and knock that away. Just that little bit of physicality without fouling on that drive.
Speaking of physicality, Badunga and Basar, initiated by Badunga there. Tiller for 3. Yes. And Kansas back on top.
Bryson Tiller can shoot the ball. He's long-armed. Got a wingspan of about 7'4", 7'5". He thinks of himself as a perimeter player. He's going to have to do a little bit more in the post, especially defensively.
And now a steal by Council. Took it right away from Evans. Peterson, back-to-back threes for the Jayhawks.
A really smart play by Peterson to play behind Melvin Council Jr. and present himself, and that was a really smart pass.
Basar open for three. He's hit one tonight. This one a little bit too strong. Trimble keeps it alive, and it's Carolina ball.
Well, Peterson started to leak out a little bit. And if you're going to win a game like this on the road, you have to stay in and rebound, all five guys. But a terrific pass by Melvin Council Jr. penetrated and then was able to kick it back. You could give Peterson credit for getting in his line of sight, playing right behind him.
If you were guarding Peterson, or if you were coaching a team trying to guard Peterson, what would you try to do with him?
I would yell help. But you have to be physical with him.
Yeah.
And one thing that Seth Trimble has done when he's been on him, he's not letting him get it back. So he's been dedicated really to Peterson without helping off. And he's done a really nice job of making his catches tough and making him go back away from the basket to catch the ball.
Trimble has been on Peterson the majority of the evening. By far the most experienced returning player in this Carolina program. Crossing over on Badunga. Kicks it into the corner. Evans, no. Tipped back out.
Well, Carolina's so good at that. If they can't catch it and corral the rebound, they'll tip it back out to him so a teammate can.
Basar has it taken away by Peterson. Tiller again knocks down another three.
And just that ball screen, turning the corner and drawing help. That created that shot by Tiller.
And all of a sudden, Jay, it's a 10-0 run, and that pretty much coincided with when Peterson came back into the game.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So how does Carolina respond? Bogavats back to Trimble. Much more of a driver than a shooter. Good help by Badunga.
Basar's got to make that. He's got to take that shot.
He had McDowell on him, a guard.
That's multiple times he's had guards switched off onto him, and he's passed it back out. And he needs to take that up.
How about the game that another very talented freshman, 6'11", Bryson Tiller from Atlanta is having tonight?
Well, Bryson Tiller can really shoot it. He's got to play the 5 spot a bit, but a guy that can step away, that's a good thing for Kansas.
Seth Greenberg, the newest member of our team. Kevin Keatsum, Zubin Mehenti coming up on the Jeep Halftime Report. Purdue is tied at the half with who? Wait till you see this. What are your first half thoughts, Coach?
Well, obviously it's a defensive battle. I thought the game changed for Carolina when Caleb Wilson got his second foul.
I thought the game changed back when Darren Peterson came in with 2 fouls and came back, gave him another offense. And Tiller, I think he's the X factor for this Kansas team. A big who can step out and shoot the ball, opens up the floor.
Guys, we'll see you at the half.
Zubin, guys, thank you very much. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis here at the Dean E. Smith Center in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And again, if you missed it off the top, the first time ever that Kansas has come to this building. And Bryson Tiller's like, what took you guys so long to come here? That's his 4th made 3.
Well, that was run right out of the timeout. Just coming off, he got a flare screen right after Darren Peterson came off that action in that horn set. Really smart by Bill Self to go to the hot hand.
So not only has Kansas played better since Peterson came back in, but remember, Wilson has 2 fouls for Carolina. He's on the bench. Both of those things happening in the last few minutes, and Hubert Davis needs an assertive Henry Basar in the front court.
He was assertive there, and that's the kind of assertiveness he needed when he had guards switched off on him when he was down low. You know, really the issue for North Carolina has been the turnovers. I mean, the Tar Heels have coughed the ball up 9 times in this first half, and Kansas scored 17 points off those 9 turnovers. Talk about the difference in the game.
A big reason they've got an 8-point lead. Make it 10 on the drive by Council.
Melvin Council is so fast. He can really get downhill. Reminds you with his speed a little bit of Tyshawn Taylor, who used to play at Kansas.
Basar steps out again. They'll run a lot of offense through him. And now Bogavats driving, finds a seam. And they play on. Carolina fans and Bogovac looking for a foul call, but they don't get one.
Well, Tiller kept both his arms up. I think he fouled him with his chest because he came into him. But the fact that you came with two hands up.
Good no call.
Yeah.
Wilson back in for the Heels. Hubert Davis looking for a spark before the end of the first half.
Carolina's got to get the ball inside.
Basar trying to do it himself, but he traveled.
Yeah, that's just too far of a distance for him to be able to put the ball on the deck and try to go against a defender. You'd rather see him work down into the low post and take advantage of his size and skill.
Bill Self will make a couple of substitutions. Tiller, who has had a big half for the Jayhawks, will sit. He's 4 for 4 from three-point range.
With this 10-point lead, you can take Peterson out so he doesn't pick up that third on the road.
McDowell elevates for a corner three. Weak side rebound by Evans.
You don't love that shot. I mean, again, Kansas doesn't get a piece of the paint at all. Just went around the perimeter, kind of settled for a challenge three in the corner.
Wilson, will he drive or try to back down White? Here he goes. Nice shot, boy. Turn around right at the free throw line. How smooth was that?
Well, he's so quick getting to his spot. He could just rise up and shoot over.
Carolina fans now getting to their feet to try to encourage the Heels here in the closing moments of the half. Council the floater. Got it back.
No need to be in a hurry here.
Council tries the runner. That won't go. And now Trimble's got it. Bogovac 3-on-2 Heels. Evans for three. Boy, a great look in transition, but now Kansas has plenty of time. Out to Council, 3 seconds now. Gets it off. It will not go, and the first half will come to a close with the Jayhawks on the road leading by 8. Both super talented freshmen in double figures. Both of them with 2 fouls in the first half. It'll be a very interesting second half here for Bill Self, Hubert Davis, and these 2 blue bloods here in Chapel Hill. Zubin, take it away. Well, nothing says it's basketball season like Red Panda back and doing her thing as well as it's ever been done. Just amazing that she's still doing this and doing it as well as ever. Dan Schulman to Jay Billis. Kansas and North Carolina, really interesting first half. You see the potential of both teams. You see some of the things they have to work on as well. And as we talked about off the top of the show, we see some really impressive freshmen.
Yeah, the freshmen have been outstanding. Darren Peterson had a really good first half, even though he picked up a couple of fouls. Caleb Wilson was a big part of North Carolina's success in the first half. And Caleb Wilson had 12 points, 5 rebounds, a steal, an assist, and just some spectacular plays, both athletically, skill-wise, and hustle. And Darren Peterson wound up with 11 points, 4 of 7 from the field in that first half, a couple of steals, a couple of assists. And Kansas struggled at times when he was out, but his teammate, fellow freshman Bryson Tiller, he was terrific. 4 of 4 from three-point range. He had 12 points in that first half. Bill Self going right to the hot hand out of a timeout on that little fade screen. But Dan, for North Carolina, the Tar Heels shot 33% in the first half. Henry Basar and Caleb Wilson were 8 of 11 from the field. The rest of the Heels, 2 of 19. The guards didn't do much at all in the first half. 10 turnovers for the Tar Heels, 17 points off those turnovers by Kansas. And the Tar Heels had 10 offensive rebounds, only 2 points converted off those 10 offensive rebounds. That putback dunk by Caleb Wilson. Carolina's got to finish plays.
You put the Zayden High 3 in the big guy bucket as well. They only got 4 points from guards or perimeter players of any description in the first half, and all of those were from Seth Trimble. They've got to figure out a way to get some scoring from the perimeter.
Well, they've got to lean into tough plays, trying to get the ball inside early to Jaron Stevenson.
Evans scoreless in the first half, but a beautiful 2-man game with Basar.
Well, Vesar just rolling right to the rim, and a terrific pass. That's the first assist for Kyan Evans, the transfer from Colorado State. But Vesar in the first half, I mean, he made some decisions. He had guards on him and kicked it back out. He's got to go up strong with that ball, go up to get fouled.
Keep in mind that both Caleb Wilson and Darren Peterson, each of them has 2 fouls as the second half begins. Trey White. And over the top of the backboard and back to Carolina.
Well, Stevenson got the ball inside to start, kicked it back out, and then a little handoff, and then immediately rolling to the basket. Terrific pass right down the gut. And that's the kind of movement that Carolina needs to put Kansas in position to make defensive decisions and defensive mistakes.
Evans, who, as we mentioned, a very good couple of years with Colorado State, a transfer, had 5 assists in the season opener for the Heels against Central Arkansas.
Kansas had to switch. You got Trey White on Wilson now.
Evans shut off on the baseline. Wilson rises up for a 3, and Vesar slams it home.
Much more assertive Vesar to start this second half. I think he only had 1 rebound in the first half.
The talent is obvious, the agility and mobility are obvious, but is it the aggressiveness that takes him to the next level?
I think so. And he's got to tack inside in the paint.
Wow, Peterson gets the tough left-handed runner to go.
He got hit there and still finished with the left hand.
But Kansas does not get back in transition, which was the #1 thing Bill Self talked about at shoot-around earlier today.
Well, Kansas did it in the first half. They took Carolina out of transition, but got a little lazy after the made field goal.
A better pace here to begin the second half. Kansas by 4. Rosario. Long rebound out to Stevenson. Here's Trimble. Takes a bump and finishes. And Bill Self has seen enough.
How about the strength by Seth Trimble? He knew he had an advantage on Darren Peterson. He wasn't in guarding position. Went right into his back. He was lucky he didn't pick up a foul there. And then goes right over Rosario with the left hand. Carolina starting strong. Well, North Carolina's come out in this second half and punched Kansas in the mouth, doing it in transition after a made basket, beating the Jayhawks back, and then after a conversion, Seth Trimble taking it to the bucket, putting the brakes on and finishing with that left hand. And now he's got Darren Peterson, which he's been guarding basically every time he's been in the game. Tough assignment, but Trimble's done a very good job making it difficult on the freshman star.
Trimble at times last year played the 3, even occasionally like a small ball 4 for Carolina. They were a much smaller team last year. And again, as he comes up with a loose ball, it will look, I think, stay at this end of the floor. It'll be Carolina ball, but obviously it's a much different team. No R.J. Davis, no Elliot Cadeau, among others. How do you see his role changing this year?
Well, he's not going to have to play guard as many bigger guys as he did last year. And it gives him the ability to keep attacking the basket. In this game, you know, the most important thing is his defense on Darren Peterson.
Evans inside, Vesar again. Great eye contact between those two.
And really good by Vesar of setting the screen and then immediately looking to score. Screener, scorer, basketball.
Henry Vesar has come out on fire here in the second half.
Well, Trimble's really making it difficult for Peterson to catch the ball, but even catching it there, he can rise up so quickly.
What game Darren Peterson has at the offensive end. Evans knocks down a 3, and the Heels are on top.
Boy, Dan, that's the second time in this second half that after a made field goal by Peterson, Carolina gets it down quickly and just runs it down Kansas's throat.
You said Council is about as quick a player as you will see in college basketball, and he just showed it right there.
Just end-to-end speed. But Carolina's movement has been much better in this second half. Everything's with a purpose. Great back tap.
Trimble blocked from behind by Rosario. Kansas has won 5 in a row in this series. including the national championship game 3 years ago. They beat him at a three-point affair at the Fog last year in Lawrence. How about another stat? Kansas 16-1 in their last 17 games against ACC teams, including 5 wins over Duke and 4 over Carolina in that time frame. Trimble hesitates, gets the three off with the shot clock running down, but can't hit it. Kansas a little sloppy with the ball, and it cost them. And Wilson is heading to the free throw line.
Carolina showed terrific toughness in this second half. Henry Vesar, the transfer, setting a screen, immediately looking for his offense off that screen. He has played very well in the second half.
A lot of people with a big interest in this game, and a lot of them with connections to both programs. Larry Brown, the Hall of Famer, played at Carolina, coached Kansas to a national championship. Roy Williams coached brilliantly at both programs. Gary Woodland, U.S. Open winner, a KU grad. Tyler Hansbrough, former National Player of the Year, national champion here in Chapel Hill. Mario Chalmers, a national champion with Kansas back in 2008. It's just so special when programs like this get together. It was a home and home last year in Lawrence, this year in Chapel Hill. And again, 2 of the 3 winningest programs in college basketball history, along with Kentucky. They have combined, Jay, for 36 Final Fours and 10 NCAA championships.
And the amount of Hall of Famers that each program has produced is just a staggering number.
Tiller, who hit 4 threes in the first half. Rosario trying to shake Stevenson. Nice look inside. Bedunga. No, it's a travel. Wave it off. He shuffled the feet.
Give Vesar credit for forcing that with his presence staying between Bedunga and the basket.
Again, Vesar, 7 foot tall and agile. A good athlete. He can really impact the game with his presence in the paint.
North Carolina's got 10 paint points in this second half. And Vesar setting the screen for Wilson, got fouled.
Caleb Wilson doing a great job moving without the ball very aggressively, and he just drew another foul. They've been fouling him all night long.
He's drawn like 8.
Yep. Number 3 on Tiller. Be inbounded by Kyan Evans on the baseline.
Oh, what a good cut by Trimble.
Evans. Vesar. Turnaround Wilson. Tough shot.
Come on. Are you kidding me? Really good patience by North Carolina to get the shot that they wanted, but that turnaround jumper, that wasn't easy.
Caleb Wilson, 16 points, 5 rebounds. Good shot fake by Rosario, and he knocks it down to tie the game.
He needed that. He does so many other things. He just hadn't seen the ball go through the basket the first 2 games.
All knotted up at 46, and a good one here at the Dean Dome.
Well, anytime a screen is being set for Trimble, Kansas is going under.
Wilson draws 2, finds Stevenson, and he hits the corner 3.
This is the way Carolina wants to play. The ball moves, and they can really stretch the defense with their shooting.
The bigs can shoot, the bigs can pass. Trimble skies for a rebound.
Well, good job by Wilson to run the floor.
Evans for 3, and it's the largest lead of the night for the Tar Heels.
Whatever the halftime speech was, that's the one they got to use before the game.
And they are all getting involved They are sharing the ball, and they are getting clean looks, Jay, from beyond the arc.
Well, it's the penetration from Wilson. That got Rosario to bite and help off the corner. An excellent ball movement to get it to Evans. Carolina on fire.
A very fun back-and-forth second half here at the Dean E. Smith Center in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It's the Heels with their largest lead of the night right now. Back-to-back threes to move up by 6. Jay, they're outscoring Kansas 23-9 in the second half.
And much better shot quality for North Carolina. I think a lot of it started with their defensive intensity.
Peterson into heavy traffic. Just too many bodies. Stevenson the block. Oh! And Wilson is heading to the line. He was looking to posterize somebody right there.
It looked like Tiller picked up the foul, but he saved a highlight dunk. This excellent job by both Trimble and Wilson to put Peterson in a bad spot. Well, talk about rising up.
I mean, he's got an extra gear. He's got a motor. He has been impressive in so many different ways here tonight. Tomorrow night, we've got a star-studded West Coast NBA on ESPN matchup for you. It'll be Devin Booker and the Suns playing the back end of a home-and-home in L.A. against the Clippers at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. After college football, the NBA Countdown crew tips off coverage at 10:07 Pacific, and both are also available on the all-new ESPN app.
One of the fascinating things in the NBA is going to be the MVP race this year. Just stunning how many amazing performances have been put on by the top players.
And the season just getting going. Well, Marco Jackson into the game for Kansas. Peterson can't hit the baseline jumper. And right now, if it's not Peterson, where is the offense coming from for the Jayhawks?
That's been the big question. And they've not been able to get the ball inside and not been able to really penetrate this North Carolina defense.
And how about another great big-to-big look from Wilson to Vessar?
Once Vessar sets that screen, he's rolling hard to the basket.
Trey White, short on the three. Heels running again.
It's been 1 and out for Kansas.
Great defensive play. Peterson, though, saved it right to Wilson. Wilson now with 18 points in the game. He and Vessar, the high scorers in this one. White shovels it off to Badunga. And he's fouled by Vessar.
Just an unnecessary reach with the left hand by Vessar. Let's make Badunga finish over you. Terrific play by Peterson, but then tries to save it. Winds up saving it right under the Carolina basket to Caleb Wilson. Can't give away points like that. You give him credit for the hustle, but you got to add that extra level of smarts at the end.
What a second half for the Tar Heels. They are shooting 73% from the floor and outscoring Kansas 27-9.
Defense and rebounding is going to be the difference for this Carolina team. And in the second half, they have defended and rebounded at a really high level.
Jaden Dawson, a transfer, a senior from Loyola Chicago, who can really shoot it. Missed that one badly. And Trimble gets the friendly bounce. And it's just all Tar Heels right now.
It's a smart drive because he knew Vessar was there to clean up a miss.
Peterson on the bench right now for Kansas. Badunga uses that right arm to get around his defender and slam it home.
Well, that's where he took advantage of the sleight of build of Caleb Wilson, just locked him down.
Wilson draws another foul, the 9th one he has drawn in this game here tonight. Caleb Wilson is having some kind of fun, and so are better than 22,000 here in Chapel Hill.
North Carolina's Henry Vessar in this second half has been a difference maker, setting the screen, getting out of it early, right down the middle, to be wide open, then setting another screen and immediately rolling to the basket, and then a miscommunication defensively by Kansas leaves him wide open for the lob. He's had an excellent second half.
Trimble with an air ball on the three. He's 0 for 5 from 3, but as we were talking about during the break, really in every other aspect, Trimble has had a heck of a game, and Vesar's activity level has been extraordinary here in the second half.
Yeah, especially in the second half. He had a good first half, but he's been excellent in the second half. And your point on Trimble, he's got 7 rebounds. That leads North Carolina, and they're dominating the glass against Kansas.
3 assists and no turnovers as well. Peterson is still on the bench right now for Kansas, and they just can't buy a bucket at the moment. Jackson steps into a 3, and they needed that one.
Well, you give them that many opportunities, give Kansas credit. They've had a tough time scoring in this second half, and they manufactured one there with hustle.
First points of the night for Elmarko Jackson.
Well, Carolina's ball movement in the second half has been so much crisper than it was in the first. They don't have a turnover, or haven't given a point-off turnover in the second half.
Bogovac somehow slithers his way under the basket and lays in a reverse.
And the ball reversal was what made the play. They're moving the Kansas defense and getting things off it.
And now another made 3. This one from Jaden Dawson. He made 86 threes a year ago for Loyola Chicago. Maybe he's the guy who can give him a spark with Peterson on the bench. Trimble left hand, yes!
He's just so powerful. He's always been a 2-footed jumper. But the last couple of years, he's been much better going off one. That was a beautiful left-handed finish over side.
He's about as good a guard finisher as there is in the nation, don't you think?
Yes.
Jackson with the answer at the other end, and both teams are now heating up. Wilson shakes his man and gets it to go. How about the skill level on that? He's got 20.
That young man has everything on the offensive end.
Tudunga driving on Vesar. And Wilson comes down to get another rebound.
Well, that was a good job defensively by Vesar. It's hard to keep Tudunga from getting around him, but he didn't give him an angle to the basket and then didn't foul.
And count the basket, an example of one of the changes in the college game this year. There is continuation, and that counts for Trimble.
Yeah, last year that probably would have been called on the floor, but after the contact, as long as you're getting into your shooting motion, you get one extra step from what you had last year. That would have been on the floor. That was close to being 2 steps, but I like the continuation call.
Trimble now with 14 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and no turnovers in the game. And he has spent probably 20-plus minutes trying to contain Darren Peterson as well.
Yeah, he's made it really difficult on Peterson. Trimble's one of the best perimeter defenders in the country.
He is going to the bench, getting a huge ovation. And let's see how Jonathan Powell, the sophomore from Centerville, Ohio, a transfer from West Virginia, how he fares with Peterson. Peterson misses the 17-footer, and good aggression there on the glass by Jaron Stevenson coming down with a board. And has Tiller just fouled out of the game? With 9:22 to go, Bryson Tiller, the freshman, is out of the ballgame.
Well, he knocked down 4 threes in that first half. And that's going to be it.
.22 to go, and Kansas has lost one of its most important offensive weapons in a game in which they have really struggled to score in the second half.
He's been one of the key perimeter threats with those 4 threes in the first half. In the first game against Wisconsin Green Bay, he had 7 points, 5 rebounds, a couple of blocks.
So now Bill Self brings in a 7-foot freshman. You're looking at Paul Mbia. He is a load. He is a big, strong young man. from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, same hometown, in fact, as Flory Badunga, and he'll get some minutes here guarding Vesar.
And Bia originally committed to NC State. He reminds you a little bit of Udoka Azubuike when he was younger. Big, strong.
And another made free. This time it's Powell, and the lead continues to grow for the Tar Heels.
This is the way Hubert Davis envisioned this team playing, being able to spread the floor, shoot it from multiple spots, and then have capable big guys that can grab rebounds and finish plays around the bucket.
They are 4 for 7 from three-point range in the second half, and maybe more impressively, 17 for 22 from the floor, 77%.
And it's the type of threes that they've been shooting that's been impressive. You know, in the first half, Carolina went 3 of 15 from 3. It was half their shots, but in the second half, they've really been attacking the paint more, and that's opened up step-in threes.
Marco Jackson at the line for Kansas. Well, let's take a look ahead to next Friday night, an ACC Network men's basketball doubleheader. It starts off with Cameron DeBoozer and 6th-ranked Duke taking on Indiana State at 7 Eastern. Then you can see the Tar Heels again as they host NC Central here at the Smith Center. Both games also available on the ESPN app.
Well, what a great matchup to have in early November. This is just awesome.
Yeah. They did it last year in Lawrence and even earlier in the season here this year in Chapel Hill. And so many connections between these two programs as we've documented. It almost felt like there were too many connections where the two sides just didn't want to play each other. But now it's different as Bogovac knocks down a 3. And wouldn't it be great if Carolina and Kansas found a way to continue this on some level in the future?
Boy, what a great play by Henry Vesar. He did a great job of catching that ball, then finding Bogovac on the perimeter for that 3. That was a big-time play by the Carolina big guy, just to make that catch, but have the presence of mind to kick it back out. That's a tough catch to make, but see, he finds Bogovac, and Melvin Council Jr. just couldn't get back out and close out in time to take that shot away.
His first 3 of the night. 6 different Tar Heels have now made a 3 in this game.
Yeah, I think these things, Dan, are connected. But you can ask yourself, what's been more impressive for Carolina, their offensive performance in the second half or their defense? But I think their defense has set up their offense. But that's been the engine that has driven this second half performance by the Tar Heels.
And they have managed to contain Darren Peterson here in the second half. He is still a big factor, but not to the extent that he had been in the first half.
Well, Kansas's ball movement has not been great. You got to give Carolina a fair amount of credit for that with their defense, especially in the second half. But Carolina's taken way better care of the ball. They're not pitching it away like they did in the first half.
Jay, they've got 1 turnover, 1 in 12 minutes in the second half after 9 in the first half.
You don't turn the ball over, you get a shot, you get a chance for an offensive rebound, and a chance to get fouled.
Peterson, how good is he at getting fouled? Well, he knows what he's doing out there.
Well, he's smart. He knew he had an advantage on Bogovac, and he went right into his body because he wasn't in guarding position.
But it's a long way back for the Jayhawks. The Heels are up by 14.
Seth and Zubin in the studio after being tied at the half. Purdue pulling away thanks to you-know-who, Coach.
Yeah, Braden Smith, he does a little bit of everything. He's the best point guard in America. Look at him relocate, shot ready, knocks it down. He's a mailman, he delivers, and shoots the 3.
Back to you guys.
Guys, thank you. What a second half for Carolina here. They are outscoring Kansas 44-22. And they're doing it in every conceivable way, Jay. They're making threes, and they're getting the ball inside for high percentage looks at the rim.
And I think their attack of the paint, Dan, has been the key. In the second half, Carolina has outscored Kansas 26-6 in the paint and 7-0 on the break. Carolina's just been dominant in this second half.
Darren Peterson knocks down the first free throw. He's got 16 points tonight. Caleb Wilson has had a terrific night for the Tar Heels, doing the big things, but also a lot of the little hustle plays that may not get noticed that have gotten his team extra possessions and extra points.
Yeah, star caliber player diving on the floor for loose balls. His activity level's been high. A little horn set here for Carolina.
Bessar steps back out. Now Evans, 7 to shoot. Behind the back, into the paint, crosses over, lays it in.
Boy, when Bessar rolls down into the paint, that gave Kyan Evans a lot of space to maneuver in there. He's been a different player, Evans has, in the second half.
He's got a nice pace about him. Doesn't look like he can speed him up very easily.
Yeah, good passer, really good shooter. But he's been in attack mode in the second half. I thought he was a little more passive in the first.
Tiller has fouled out. Badunga's on the bench. Tipped up and good. That is going to count for Trey White. And it's a 13-point lead for Carolina. Trying to snap a 5-game losing streak in this series. What a pass. Count the basket. Another assist for Caleb Wilson.
Well, they just ran a little horn set, got a screen between Wilson and Bessar, and then Bessar steps up and sets a back pick for Evans. That's something that Kansas should be able to handle. Not enough pressure on the ball. He can see right over, and you can see what an outstanding passer that Caleb Wilson is.
Wilson now has 4 assists to go with 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals. Jackson, no. Evans the rebound.
A good job by Evans to get down there and rebound as a guard, help the big guys out.
Bessar steps into a 3. And a terrific rebound coming down from out on the perimeter by Trey White. Badunga back in for the Jayhawks. Council just didn't look the ball into his hands, never caught it. Boy, Evans takes good care of the basketball.
And he had some real pressure on him there.
And a foul on Jackson.
Jaren Stevenson, who picked up that foul on Jackson, has been thought of as a shooter, but he's more than that. And that's what Hubert Davis really wants him to do. He's been talking to him about, look, you got to get every half. You got to get a stick back. You got to get something in transition. Get a post up. Remember that game he had in the Elite Eight against Clemson a couple years ago to send Alabama to the Final Four. He had 19. I think he had like 5 threes in that game. He was outstanding.
Misses the front end. Jamari McDowell back in there in the backcourt now along with Jackson. Peterson is in there as well. Really, it's a kind of a 4 perimeter guy look for the Jayhawks right now along with Badunga.
I don't know why Bessar would want to foul there. I mean, he had Badunga 10 feet off the lane. Like, let him catch it there. You did your job. He didn't get a deep post touch.
15 foul this half on Carolina.
Good job by Trimble.
Peterson gets a look and buries a 3.
Well, he did a great job of face guarding, almost top blocking Darren Peterson. Peterson just bumped back. Even if he played great defense, he's got better offense.
Turnaround Wilson. Man, oh man, has he got game.
Looked like a handoff. He kept it. That is a big-time turnaround jumper. What a beautiful touch he has.
And you make a great point. It's not only the talent, it's the decision-making as well, right?
When you can shoot like that, every decision's good. But he plays it like, it looks like a handoff, but he keeps it. Got a switch and just turned and shot right over Jamari McDowell. The level of confidence. I mean, he doesn't look like a freshman out there to me.
He has been efficient as well. He is 8 for 11 from the floor.
Does that back screen again.
Hand off to Trimble. On the drive, and a goaltending call on Bidunga.
And that looked like it was shaping up to be a little flex action, but when Trimble came off, he turns the corner and gets downhill. And he's so explosive getting to the basket, he had to wipe it off the backboard to stop it.
17-7 right now for Seth Trimble. Deep one for Peterson, and it goes.
Like Trimble got picked off by a screen. He thought it was an illegal one, but that freed up Peterson. He's gonna have 40 in it.
He's got 11 in each half here tonight. Trimble in and out, but good hustle by Stevenson to keep it alive.
And a good job by Besar to wedge in Bidunga that allowed Stevenson to get that ball.
And Jackson with a reach-in foul 35 feet from the basket. As these two teams step aside, what a second half for Carolina. They're up by 13.
Zubin Mehenti here in the studio. After the committee's first rankings, Memphis finds themselves in the field of 12. But the American is still yet to be decided. Tulane's got some title hopes. So does Brendan Lewis and the Tigers. Kickoff is when you guys are finished at the Smith Center.
Zubin, thank you. That young man's got a rooting interest in the football game. That's Isaiah Dennis, a freshman from Charlotte. He's going to become a factor for this team a little bit later on, but he's a little behind. Broke his finger last year, broke it again in the summer, and his brother Jaden is a defensive back for Memphis. So I'm sure once this one is over, Isaiah Dennis will be checking in on his brother Jaden in the football game. Big football game in the American. Another great play by Wilson, his third steal of the night.
Well, Carolina's missed some free throws, and Kansas, with an opportunity to get a bucket, just throws the ball away, and Bill Self just threw his head back. Those are the kind of turnovers on the road that are just comeback killers.
Get to know the name Caleb Wilson. One of the most talented freshmen in the nation, and now a turnover over and back on the heels. But again, the hustle by Wilson. 3:22 to go. Carolina has scored 52 points here in the second half.
Kansas has 2 players in double figures. Peterson's got 22, Tiller 12. Tiller's out of the game with 5 fouls. Now, outside of Darren Peterson, where's Kansas going to generate some offense?
And wasn't that one of the questions being asked about this team even heading into the season, is who would be their number 2 guy, their number 3 guy?
Well, Flory Bidunga is going to have to be more aggressive on the offensive end. Melvin Council Jr., Trey White.
Cole Rosario figures to become a bigger factor as he gets accustomed to the college game.
And he will. I mean, a first road game in the Dean Smith Center is not easy. But the paint in this game has been dominated by North Carolina. And that's something Kansas, they always want to try to get downhill. They've not been able to do it against the Carolina defense.
And Vesar fouls Bidunga again. Still not over the limit. 6th team foul, so the Jayhawks will inbound. White gets free and lays it in on a feed from Peterson.
So concerned about Bidunga coming to the ball, they lost White right under the basket. Carolina needs to stem the tide here and get a score.
3 minutes to go, 11-point lead. Evans turns the corner, keeps the dribble alive.
He's carrying that ball.
He is. Vesar with a great effort, but couldn't finish it, and it is still Carolina ball. Put 20 on the clock. If this is who Vesar is going to be, night in, night out, Carolina's ceiling goes up.
No question. And especially the Henry Vesar we've seen in the second half.
scoops it up, and another goaltending call. Count the basket. It's a 13-point lead.
Boy, turned in the corner. He really got the ball on the backboard quickly.
He's got a dozen, Jay. They've all come in the second half.
I'm a little surprised he didn't get that carry called. I mean, he had his hand under the ball like twice.
Remember, at halftime, we were talking about how the guards only had 4 points in the game for Carolina, all by Trimble. Evans has 12 in the second half. Trimble has 13 points in the second half.
Yeah, Carolina's been a different team in the second half. Really responded to the challenge that Hubert Davis and the coaching staff provided at halftime.
White is fouled on the drive and will head to the free throw line.
That's what you needed to see a lot earlier in this game for Kansas, is turning the corner and getting into the lane and putting pressure on the North Carolina defense.
So White at the line again, well traveled. His fourth school, USC, Louisville, Illinois, and now Kansas.
Well, Trey White went over 1,000 points in this game for his career.
More basketball coming your way on Sunday. Indiana and Marquette at 1 o'clock Eastern time, and then Washington and Baylor. The Huskies off to a 2-0 start Sunday night at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on ESPN and the all-new ESPN app.
That's the Tom Crean Invitational. He coached both those teams.
Yeah.
03 took Marquette to the Final Four in New Orleans, and a #1 ranking as the coach at Indiana. Coach Victor Oladipo and Cody Zeller. OG Anunoby.
That's right. Cody's brother Tyler sitting across the court from us, part of the radio crew here at Carolina. Went through a great career here back in the day. Under 2 minutes to go. There he is.
Yeah, it's great talking to Tyler yesterday. And he works with Jones Angel, and he was telling me that Jones really gives him a lot of room as the analyst. And I was like, what's that like?
Not one person in America is buying what you're selling right now. Marco Jackson fouls out, becoming the second Jayhawk to pick up his fifth. What's Bill Self going to be thinking about on the way back to Lawrence tonight?
How can I get more shots for Darren Peterson? Kansas is going to have a good year ahead of them. This is going to be a good basketball team. And I like the fact that they came for this kind of test this early, because there's going to be a lot to look at on this tape and areas that they can really improve, because they've got good talent. But Peterson's the straw that's going to stir this drink.
Last year, the Jayhawks 21-13, finished 7th in the Big 12, which granted is a great lead, and lost in the first round to Arkansas. Picked 6th in the Big 12 preseason this year. And again, it's an absolutely outstanding league. You've got Houston, Texas Tech, BYU, Arizona, Iowa State, all picked ahead of the Jayhawks preseason.
Well, the last 2 years, Kansas, after dominating the Big 12, have gone 44-24. And that's been un-Kansas-like. Boy, what a terrific play by Bessar on that last defensive exchange to knock that ball away on the lob.
Rosario back out to Dawson, 1:40 to go. Dawson with the elbow jumper a little bit short, and the loose ball down to Carolina. It feels like they've won more than their share of the 50-50 balls tonight.
No question. Bessar was in drop coverage, but all 5 Tar Heels stuck their nose in there to rebound, finish that defensive exchange.
A huge night for Caleb Wilson, a huge second half for Henry Bessar, a great night for Seth Trimble. Final minute of regulation, knocked away by Wilson. And the exclamation point on an impressive second half for Carolina. Rosario will bang home a three at the other end, but Wilson now up to 24 points on the night, the high score in the game.
Well, you're looking at the next great North Carolina player, Caleb Wilson. He's played 4 games in a Carolina uniform, 2 of them exhibitions. He's been over 20 points in every contest.
Both Peterson and Wilson in excess of 20 points in the game. But boy, Wilson helped his team in so many other ways as well, not just scoring.
And he's got a motor on him, doesn't he?
Stevenson with an impressive offensive rebound. And now they can just hold the ball, soak it in, enjoy the energy here at the Dean Dome. The Tar Heels with a big early season win.
What a second half performance by North Carolina.
Wilson with 24 and 7, Vesar with 20, Trimble with 17 and 8, and the Tar Heels snap a 5-game losing streak against Kansas with a phenomenal performance in the second half as they beat them 87-74. Don't go anywhere. Big football game coming your way right now. Memphis Tulane, Anish Shroff, Andre Ware, and Paul Carcaterra.